you hope for will volunteer. You know, I'm giving everyone basically a stipend of $100. Can you imagine telling somebody they're going to work 40 hours and you're going to give them $100 and you want them to be both an artist and a technician?
Right.
But you know what it is? It comes down, it's incredible, but I hate when things come down to money. You know, it's like you kind of like, there's so much going on. This is such a beautiful craft, right? And it's so hard to make it happen.
Right.
That's the hard part about being
so
a producer.
hard to
you know,
make
it's like
things happen, and it's like it shouldn't be so difficult. I mean, there's money for politicians. You know how much money they spend in.
But you know, Sissy, it can
so
work.
much money.
I think it can work for you too, because it is a business. I don't care if it's off Broadway. I don't
It's
care
a
if
business.
it's Broadway. If you treat it like a business and it's a profession.
Right.
And it's you go at it a little bit differently than when it's, oh, let's just have some fun, let's just kind of play.
Right.
It gives you a discipline, and it keeps you within the boundaries of what you want to do, and that's hard to do because we all are we're actors, we're artists, and let's let it all happen.
Let's fly.
Yeah, but there's a clock. There's a clock. And there's an opening night, and you got to have it, and you got to know what your schedule is going to be, and you have to know how much you have and whether you spent too much, and that can be draining on you, but also it kind of, in a way, it's comforting because you have to work within boundaries.
Right.
And that helps me, I know. Sometimes it's frustrating, but it helps me. It really does.
But it's hard, you know, it's kind of hard for me sometimes because I'm like wearing two hats. I'm in the show, I'm an actor, so I'm also an artist, and I'm also providing the money for this. So I have a certain budget to work with.
Right.
And I know how, and my wife, who is doing the costumes, she has a certain budget to work with. So we had 7 actors, and I gave her $300 to costume 7 actors.
Wow.
And she did an amazing job. First of all, she's very talented, and she has a great design background. She spent so much time going around. She found a suit for Roger.
It looks more like $300.
It's the most amazing suit. Where do you see this suit?
Yeah.
$20. She found it for $20 in a vintage place. But that's what she does. She knows.
Right. She knows. She got vision.
She got vision.
She got vision.
And she has $300.
Right.
But then here's the thing for me. So we have a situation, or imagine that there is such a situation where you have an actor who says, and the actor is absolutely right. Coming from an artistic point of view, the actor says, "Look, this is what I need for my character. You don't understand, Jim. It has to be this. It has to be that." I says, "Yeah." And as an actor, as an artist, I understand exactly what she means. I know what she means. But as the producer has to dig into my pocket, I have to say, but I can't give it to you. I can't give it to you. And so it's real hard.
It's always a tug. It's always a tug.
But I don't think I will ever. I have to say, maybe I shouldn't say this on camera, but I will never produce and act in a show again. I will either be a producer or be an actor. I can't do both. I won't do both again.
But it's a hell of an
I'm going to make him do both.
I'm
going to make him do both again.
He probably will.
I know he will.
He didn't say that.
I know
I
he will.
struck that.
Yeah.
You know, because I'm acting and directing. Also, I'm directing and acting, and I have an associate director, Eddie Lou, thank God, who's out front, telling me, you know, when I'm off base, and also sharing notes, which I like with everybody.
Right.
I want it to be an ensemble.
Right.
And yes, it's hard to do both, to produce and act.
But it's challenging.
But it's challenging.
Kenneth Branagh said something similar. I love Kenneth Branagh, but he was when he's always he loves the theater so much.
Yes, he does.
He loves the craft so much, and he's always wearing different hats. And somebody asked him, "Do you ever get tired of dealing with the fact that you are the director of the film, of the play, you're directing it, you are acting, you are..." And he said, "Well, yeah, it is very difficult, taxing, challenging, but I love doing it."
We had this conversation coming over here. Roger and I had this conversation where I said to him, Roger says, "I don't see how you're doing what you're doing." Because this guy, he's also coming from, he's taking a 2-hour train ride every night.
I live in Poughkeepsie.
Poughkeepsie, yes.
So he's directing, he's acting, he's running an acting studio. I said, "How are you doing it? I don't understand how you're doing it." He said to me, "Jim, I don't understand how you're doing it."
Well, that's a lot for, that's what you do. This is what you're about.
That's right. That's why Dan moved to New York City.
That's what Dan came to New York and said, "Damn, I'm not going to go back and forth, Dad. I don't care how much I love you, but what the hell?
I'm coming to New York.
I'm coming to New York."
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's the love for the craft, it's the love for this.
Better get something out of it.
So,
we ain't making any money.
You're going to make much, but you got to love that.
Well, you know what? It's like with this show, I feel that I don't know what's the word that I'm looking for. Now I'm going to go in silence. This is embarrassing, but you want to help, you want to promote, you want to talk, you want to fight, you want to encourage, you want to inspire.
Yeah, that's right.
RocketHub.com.
Because it's hard. It's hard. Each one of us.
Don't we have a part for Sissy in this?
I-
We gotta
right,
get you in.
guys.
We got to get you in.
It's so damn hard that we have so many obstacles to face, and this is such a hard business. I don't care how you look at it.
Right.
This is a very difficult business.
Right.
Stage work, film, television is tough.
Yeah.
I would say it's an impossible business. But hey, we love doing it,
We love doing it.
right?
Yeah.
My
yeah.
mother always said, "You made your bed, sleep in it." You know?
Yeah.
Don't complain.
Don't
'Cause when I
complain.
came home, I go, "Mom, this is so tough. You made your bed."
Right. There's no
Living.
looking back here, guys. You know that, right?
There isn't?
There's no looking
Oh,
back.
okay.
Am I right?
Well,
I'm,
yeah,
I'm looking for it. I'm looking to the next show. We'll do the next one.
Yeah, we're
It's
ready.
a, it's a thrill.
We're gonna
Now,
do another
I got invited to go, right?
Yes.
And I'm going. I'm
we're
gonna be there.
I'm waiting for you.
I would like to have the whole cast right here.
Well,
Is it possible? Can we make that happen? Then I'll put you in the spot.
we can do that. We can do
I don't
that.
know.
We
Think
can do
about
that.
it.
Yeah, we can do that.
He's in silence. He's like, well, I don't know about that. Now we can-
don't
she's a
know.
little too much.
well,
She's a little too off.
Well, you
But they're
know.
going to have a good time here. They are.
Yeah, well,
They will.
We'll have
All
a
right,
good time.
we will. Yeah, yeah.
We will
can
have
do
a
it.
good time.
Yeah.
Now, you haven't gone to the movies. I know I don't want to talk about films, but do you go to the movies? Do you go to the theater much? What kind of work turns you on? Professionally speaking, what kind of work?
Well, I can say what I just recently saw. I saw Ian McKellen and Patrick Stewart do.
Oh, I have to go
Beckett
and
Beat.
see
Oh
that.
my! It was really
too,
good. It wasn't my most favorite production of Beckett.
But that's an impossible play to work on. I would love to do it.
I saw a great production on BBC recently that they were just phenomenal, and Patrick Stewart and Ian McKellen were phenomenal actors. And one of the things the critics said that made a lot of sense to me was they said, these guys are up there, they're having too good of a time as these two tramps, whereas Beckett's universe is very bleak. And,
Right.
and Waiting for
And
Godot, those
gray.
guys are not having a great time.
Right.
So it was like watching two vaudeville performers, and they were terrific. I enjoyed it. I loved it. I mean,
But-
it's not that I'm a Beckett's purist, but I really absolutely loved it. I'm just saying that I've seen productions of Beckett that I like better.
Yeah.
And I think Jim and I share that love of really classic theater and a background in that. I came out
And the
of the
love for the language.
I came out
Love
of
for
the
the
Yale
language.
Love
Repertory
for the
Company,
language.
Yale Drama School. The Royal Court Theatre in London is where I started directing overseas, and I did national theatre directing and did some acting in London at the Royal Court and elsewhere. And I also founded the Yale Rep after going through Yale Drama School. So I came out of that kind of background. And for me, at that time, if you wanted to do movies, you went west, young man. You went west, and now today, with all the independent films,
Yeah,
and
you
the kids who call me in my studio now, they go, "Did you work with James Earl Jones and John Lithgow and
Yes.
Samuel L. Jackson, which I have on my brochure?"
On
And
your
I say, "Well, yes," because they think, "Well, I do film."
Right.
And I say, "Yes, I do." But do you? I say to them, "But wait a minute, don't you know that they all came out at least 20 years
Right.
of stage
Right.
training
Right.
and classical work in order to, they didn't just pop up
Right.
on the screen."
That's exactly right.
And then usually there's this long pause on the end of the phone, and either I hear a click because they're really depressed about hearing that,
Yeah.
because they want to go right on the
right.
screen,
It doesn't work that way.
and they want to go right the first class. They want to go in front of a camera,
Right.
without anything, without putting anything up, getting anything ready to go in
Work.
front of the
It's
camera.
work.
Yeah, I think
And
so. I
you
think
know.
they're really the great actors. I mean, I really think they come out of theater.
I do too.
Me too.
For example,
I feel the
Glenn
same
Close
way.
is a good example.
Who?
Glenn Close.
Glenn Close, yeah.
Jim worked
I
with.
actually worked with
You-
Glenn Close before she became really well known. I actually had the leading role in a play that she was in, and I could see right away when I saw this woman. She was just phenomenal. This was when she was probably, she couldn't have been more than 20, 22.
She was remarkable in the Dangerous
And
Liaisons.
yeah,
remember?
Yes.
but her whole career was in stage before she ever
Right.
got up on and became a film actress.
Mm-hmm.
And Ian McKellen, the same thing. Came out of the Royal Shakespeare Company before he did Gandalf and before he did all those roles.
Yeah.
And
And I remember seeing Ian McKellen and Patrick Stewart when they were young actors at the RSC in the early 1960s and,
Oh, wow.
and late 60s, really, when I was directing at the Royal Court. So I watched them,
Again.
and all of a sudden Patrick Stewart
There's-
is Mr. King television, But for years, you know, he worked in nothing but Shakespeare.
Right, of
so
course.
I'm a little prejudiced, and I think that's what Jim and I have in common. I love film. I always love film.
Yeah.
And particularly acting in film, which I've done just recently, doing a number of pictures. And but I think it comes from the stage, and
Me too,
I
I feel
know
the
that
same
when I
way.
pick up the New York Times entertainment section, I have to admit the first thing I look at is the theater section. That must tell you something. I don't look
Right.
at the films first. I look at
I
the
don't
theater.
go to the theater.
Dan, my son, right to the film
Right
section.
to film.
Right
I
to
love,
the-
I mean, I love actors in general. This is a beautiful, pure profession. And the show